And see, the thing about being a targeted individual and experiencing organized stalking, gang stalking, community mobbing, covert surveillance, this is not something that's being done by the everyday citizen or just, a random group of idiots in your towns and cities and wherever you may live. This is something that's being perpetrated and has roots within the higher federal levels and governmental levels and those sort of authority figures, down to your local police stations, city workers, EMT workers, firefighters, and different people within different departments, even to the religious sectors in these churches, which are, highly made up of Freemasonic individuals themselves. And with that being said, it seems like all of these are just institutions of the system or the so-called powers that be, which only goes to show that, this so-called targeting and gang stalking program is being carried out by institutions with the budget, with the resources, with the manpower, and with the ability to gather intelligence on specific individuals and slander them, use disinformation campaigns, affect their finances in any way, turn their families against them, turn people they have close to them against them, whole communities against them. And not only that, but at the very same time, getting all of these individuals involved in a coordinated effort to carry out harassment and psychological tactics on that single individual, which is a targeted individual. It goes to show that there is a sophisticated element behind this program, and it's not solely spiritual, because this is something that's being carried out covertly, only shown overtly to a targeted individual, and they're making it obvious when they do these tactics to a TI. But in the public's eye, it's on a covert level, which means when people do things on a covert level or are being sneaky, it's because they know that there's a chance that they could be caught and prosecuted, and there's a chance that they can be exposed. So that's why the enemy still operates in a very sly, covert, low-key manner, because that element is still there, regardless of how many people are speaking lies and trying to slander your name or misrepresenting you and your character and using defamation of character. And the type of evil we're dealing with, this is an evil that's at the head of city councils. This is an evil that's embedded in your local county politicians, state. It's to a state level, it's to a federal level, it's to a governmental level. So this is something that is embedded within different elements of society, and these are basically I would even go as far as to call these people terror cells. And since they falsely watchlist targeted individuals as so-called terrorists or dangerous to society under FISA 702, I could say that these are the real terrorists and these are the real threat, and that these are the real people perpetrating crimes against humanity, because everybody wants to talk about different so-called, genocides within society, but there's one going on every day. There's one going on every day with targeted individuals, and you'll never see that gain any media traction. You'll never see that be talked about on a wide scale. And that's because, this is what society consists of. It's basically like a huge inside joke that everybody's in on. Now, obviously, I don't mean everybody, but I'm speaking figuratively. And targeted individuals are just the ones who are not let in on it or involved in the evil that you must perpetrate to be a part of these so-called inside jokes or the in crowd or these groups carrying this out. So with that being said, I just want to say that it's not about who's targeting you. It's not about the puppets they use or the useful idiots they use to carry out these tactics. And I have to remind myself this a lot of the time. But it's about the ones calling the shots behind the scenes. It's about the ones sitting behind desks and wearing suits and ties and involved in these societies, these so-called secret societies that are within society. And these people who have basically planted themselves in every institution, in every portion of society to carry these things out. And a lot of people want to talk about, well, they feel like, something's coming, or they feel like eventually the people will have to stand up against the so-called elites or the so-called corrupted individuals that run this world. But at the same time, I think the only ones that would be a true threat to them, and the only ones who would ever stop that or have a chance at stopping that from happening, and stopping this so-called agenda that they have against all of humanity, would be targeted individuals. I think it would be TIs. And so it makes sense why the same people targeting us are the same ones that are on that Epstein level type of stuff, but they're just not in the media. And these are the ones, and there's many of these type of individuals out there. There's many of them within the federal and government departments. There's many of them that are putting innocent people on watch lists and then treating their life like it's some type of game and sitting back and just pretending like they don't know what's going on. So at the end of the day, we're dealing with a different type of evil. And what's even more shameful is that out of all these individuals that get involved, society lacks empathy and is truly full of soulless narcissists that not many people have the backbone, not many people have the honor or integrity to even stand up and do what's right and, bring a lot of this to light. A lot of people will go along to get along, and that's why these same people who want to keep birthing children into this world, they're going to birth their children into a world that they help destroy in the long run. So it's really, it's a lot of hypocrisy, and it's a lot of people pointing fingers and saying who is who and putting themselves in the position to judge another individual. And they try to have this modern day mob mentality and, burn you at the stake. But at the very same time, these are the same individuals who are helping destroy the same world that they live in and that they supposedly want to thrive in and have family and children and their own prosperity in. So that's the type of evil we're dealing with. These are the type of hypocrites we're dealing with. We're dealing with people who will perpetrate and run all these agendas against your life and then get upset and butthurt when you talk about it, and then try to retaliate against you or intimidate you into silence.